Hi everyone, welcome to this Way of the Samurai part 14. Today we're going to be working from the Book of Samurai as always, and we're going to be on page 16. Now this is the first thing that a samurai should keep in mind in daily life. And this is pretty much the first thing that's written in the start of Heika Jodan, after the introduction. And it's the primary principle is that samurai should keep in mind during daily life is that during a state of order you should consider and prepare for war, and in a time of disorder you should think of the best way to bring about peace. Right, okay, it seems so simple, but for you guys it's drastically important. In Chinese classics this is often said as things like when there's a massive heat or a heat wave you should purchase furs. Or when there's a downpouring of rain, you should, collect water. The point here is meaning that when something is in abundance or not required, like the furs are not required in the heat, it means you should get them then. You should make sure you have them then, because what happens is when there's a great cold comes on after the heat or later in winter, everybody wants those furs and you're unprepared. But in a great heat, they'll just sell them cheap. They'll give them away. People. If it's a massive long heat, they'll be like, oh, but I'm not selling anything, quick, you can buy them. So, for example, Christmas cards. If you're going to buy Christmas cards, go to buy your Christmas cards in January because they're all on discount, they're all for sale, they're all dirt cheap, and you're prepared then for next year. You're absolutely prepared for next year. Same as collecting rainwater. When it's hammering with rain, go and collect the rainwater in storage barrels, as they used to do in the old days, because, and you put them in the shade then. That's because you've got the rainwater collected for if there's a drought the next week. The point here is that don't just float along with the situation. This is happening to me, I will respond. You have to have action. And it means that when you're at peace here, for a samurai, it means that when you're at peace, you know full well you're going to be going to war at some point. That was the point of the samurai. Before the long period of peace, the Edo period, when the samurai declined, this is why they were sharp before, because there'd be war, peace, war, peace, war, peace, 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 war. They would know it was coming. So you never got a decline in the samurai then, except, for when there was an extended period of peace. So for you guys, the idea is you don't have to go too far with this and be like, end of the world survivalists. But do you have food stocks? Do you have meeting points between you and your friends? I have. Me and Daniel from Tanigawa have a meeting. We're going to meet. If it all goes tits up and we get down there, have you got weapons ready? Are your weapons stored? So I don't want to turn this into a modern applications, but the point here is that are you ready for an emergency in your life? Are you ready for a sudden change? So you're in the middle of an emergency. It means every action then, of course your base action is survival. Do I have, water, find food, all that type of thing. But you should then be thinking about rebuilding. You should then be thinking about returning back to the norm. So it doesn't matter if it's war, if it's an emergency, if it's like a natural disaster. You should literally beforehand be thinking about how to deal with it, and during it thinking about how to return back to civilized normal society. Because if you're in that position and you don't push towards returning back to a civilized normal existence, you'll just continue to subsist and keep going, and the idea is you just monotonously stay on the same line. So it's a very, very, very important skill, this. It is absolutely about, are you prepared for the future? And during a crisis, do you know how to bring back the balance? Right guys, I'll leave that with you. Make sure you discuss that on Natori Ryu Hub, and that's where we'll talk about it there.